The São Paulo Sprint was supposed to be the moment McLaren showed unity in the face of a relentless title fight. Instead, it turned into the most controversial episode of the 2025 season. A high-speed crash at Curva do Sol eliminated Oscar Piastri, shattered his momentum, and handed Lando Norris a free path to victory and valuable championship points. But what if the incident wasn't just a mistake in tricky conditions? What if something, or someone, helped create the perfect scenario for disaster? Rumors began swirling almost immediately. Onboard replays, raised eyebrows, drivers shared suspicious team radio messages, and a rookie, Kimi Antonelli, publicly hinted that Norris may have triggered the chaos that sent water and debris straight into Piastri's path. Suddenly, a simple spin wasn't so simple anymore, and as more details surface, this storyline is becoming impossible to ignore. Now the paddock is buzzing with questions McLaren never wanted to answer. Did Norris knowingly push the limits on a wet curb, splashing water onto Piastri's racing line? Did he unintentionally or intentionally set up a scenario that only he could survive? And why did this happen at the exact moment the title fight has reached its boiling point, with just 9 points separating the teammates? If you want the real explanation behind this drama, the evidence the broadcast didn't show, and why this rivalry might be reaching a breaking point, make sure you subscribe now. This is a turning point in the 2025 championship, and you need to understand what it means. What unfolded during the sprint race at Interlagos was more than just another crash in mixed conditions. It was the moment the entire 2025 F1 title fight shifted direction. The championship leader, Lando Norris, walked away with maximum points and a clean victory. Oscar Piastri, his closest rival and teammate, walked away with a wrecked McLaren, a 9-point deficit, and a growing sense that something about the incident wasn't quite natural. Let's break down exactly what happened. The conditions at the start of the sprint were treacherous. Standing water, inconsistent grip, and gusty winds created an environment where every millimeter matters. Norris started strong, controlling the pace. Piastri, running third, took the same line he had taken the lap before. But this time, the curb at turn 3 reacted differently. His rear snapped instantly. The car rotated violently and slammed into the wall, triggering a multi-car incident as Nico Hülkenberg and Franco Colapinto, following almost the exact same line, were caught out seconds later. Now, normally this would be just another wet weather racing crash. But here's where the drama began. Antonelli, immediately after the crash, said on Mercedes team radio that Norris hit the curb and a lot of water went on the line. This comment is critical. It suggests that Norris, driving ahead, may have kicked up more water or destabilized the curb surface right before Piastri arrived. And this is not speculation. It's the first time another driver has attributed blame not to conditions, not to Piastri, but directly to Norris. Norris hitting the curb aggressively could indeed fling water onto the racing line. And in drying conditions, this creates a lethal combination. 1 part dry and 1 part deceptively wet. If Piastri was following the same trajectory Norris assumed to be safe, he would have no warning that grip had suddenly changed underneath him. Piastri himself hinted at this. He admitted he shouldn't have been on the curb, but also emphasized that the track condition was different from the lap before, and that other cars ahead had used the same curb moments earlier. He stopped short of blaming Norris, but his comments included one subtle message. Someone ahead changed the track's condition unexpectedly. Meanwhile, McLaren team principal Andrea Stella offered a strangely political response. Instead of tipping blame, he focused on calling it just an episode, the kind of phrase team bosses use when they want to avoid stirring internal conflict. But even he admitted the team would have a conversation with Piastri about the crash. Notice something? Stella didn't mention Norris's role at all. This is unusual. When multiple cars crash at the same point due to unpredictable conditions, teams typically discuss the track, the weather, or FIA decisions. Here, the narrative is strangely focused on Piastri's mistake, despite Antonelli's accusation and visible evidence of water splash. Did Norris mean to affect Piastri? Almost certainly not. He's chasing his first Formula One title, but in racing, intent is only part of the story. Impact matters just as much. In this case, Norris won the race. Piastri scored 0 points. In a tight championship, even an unintentional move like this can spark debate. Every point matters, and every race counts. We also need to think about the psychology. Piastri had led the championship earlier in the season, but has faced some setbacks recently. Pressure can make small mistakes feel much bigger. Norris, meanwhile, has grown more confident with every race. He knows the limits of his car better, and is more willing to push them. Was this the moment where McLaren's friendly rivalry showed cracks under championship pressure? After the race, Piastri tried to move on quickly, focusing on the main event. That's professional, but frustration was clear. Losing points in these circumstances can feel like a big missed opportunity. And while drivers move forward, the disappointment doesn't disappear. Small moments like these can linger in a driver's mind and affect their mindset in future races. For McLaren, this is tricky. Teams rely on trust and coordination. When teammates unintentionally undermine each other, tension can rise. If Norris and Piastri start to distrust each other, the final races could be far more dramatic. Every strategy call, every in-race decision, every point scored or lost suddenly carries more weight. Team harmony is fragile, and once it's broken, it's hard to restore. This also shows how fine the line is between individual ambition and team harmony. Norris is fighting for personal success. Piastri is defending his championship hopes. Friction is almost inevitable. Racing doesn't wait for drivers to settle differences. Consequences come fast. The balance between competing for yourself and respecting your teammate is delicate. And in Formula One, even small missteps can have big repercussions. Fans and commentators are debating this moment. Was it a simple accident, or is it the start of a deeper rivalry at McLaren? Every replay, every interview adds to the story. The Brazil Sprint has become more than a race result. It's a defining moment in the season. And moments like these don't just influence the points on the board. They influence the mindset of drivers, the decisions of the team, and how the championship plays out in the final rounds. Looking ahead, Norris has the advantage now. Piastri must work to regain momentum. How they handle the rest of the season matters for both their championship hopes and McLaren's team dynamics. Balancing competition and teamwork is delicate. Mistakes now could have big effects. Teams must manage internal rivalries carefully because if tension grows too strong, it can spill into the races and affect performance. In the end, this moment in São Paulo is more than just a race. It's a look at the pressures of Formula One and how tight the margins are between success and setback. Was it just an accident or the start of a rivalry? Only the remaining races will tell. But one thing is certain. The tension is real, and the championship just became even more unpredictable. Every lap, every move, every decision from here on out will feel heavier. So here's the question for all of you watching. What do you think? Was this purely a racing accident or the first signs of a team rivalry inside McLaren? The answer could shape the rest of the season. The Brazil Sprint may have been just one weekend, but its effects could last until the very last lap of the championship. Keep your eyes on these drivers, because the next races could be some of the most dramatic of the year. And that's the story so far. The drama, the tension, the championship stakes, they're all building up to a finale that could be unforgettable. Stay tuned, keep watching, and follow along, because the season is far from over, and the story of McLaren's internal rivalry has only just begun.